economic and politics, as it is not a secret that lifting of crude oil is a major form of political patronage in Nigeria since the 1970s or even. A lot of observations have been made on this issue, but no total solution have been made. But Nigeria should concentrate on solutions such as application of rule of law. Rule of law, which insinuates the supremacy of law over everybody, should be applied. Maybe if there is check and balance, the level of corruption would be reduced. Enactment of anti-corruption law. There should be a law that insinuates the punishment of any government official or anybody found corrupt, just as capital punishment is used in China for any government officials found corrupt. Also, the citizen. Thank you.
Just like in China, capital management is issued to corrupt leaders. In China, if you are corrupt, it's capital punishment straight. Thank you very much. Faith Eniola Rufus. Please clap for her.
However, so many years after independence, we still find it difficult to live. How are we going to be patient to get to the promised land? Corruption has become a cankerworm that has eaten deeply into the system of Nigerians. But before I proceed, it will be an understatement for me not to introduce myself. I am Frostenella Faith from Zumurati Islamia Senior High School. And greetings to my judges on the high table. What is corruption? Corruption is an inducement to wrong by improper or unlawful means as bribe. It is an impairment of virtue, integrity, and moral principle. This act of deliberate action carried out by someone or group of people who are in state, position, or have the opportunities to lay claims on what belongs to a person or group of people in the society. The detriment of this immoral act on Nigerians within and outside the country are enormous due to the fact that some countries of the world now see Nigerian citizens, both the good and bad, as corrupt people. To the extent that they no longer trust Nigerians whenever they met or engage in any business activities. What a shame. Some of the areas in which the effects of corruption have hindered the development of Nigeria are in the major sector of the economy, which include educational sector, banking industry, defense, oil and gas, and all government parastatal, including federal, state, and local governments. According to Bogweze, he said that from the African point of view, they see politics as the means of acquiring wealth. Also, in the words of Jeremiah Nehru, he says, money, the mother's milk of politics. From this statement, uttered by these two philosophers, it is clear and glaring to all Nigerian citizens that most of our leaders that are elected or choosing to hold a particular post sees that as an opportunity of acquiring wealth, either by embezzlement and misappropriation of funds, buying and selling of public properties amongst themselves, money laundering, and host of others, instead of doing their jobs in good faith. Corruption in the Nigerian police force, Nigerian customs services are not to be left out when corruption are to be mentioned in Nigeria. This is because of the high rates of corrupt practices among the security agencies. For the past 3 decades, quite a number of cases have been thrown into the air on media, by television, radio, or even newspapers on how senior and junior police officers are caught, including the then Inspector General of Police, Mustapha Balogun, including the top officials and controllers of Nigerian police force. Despite all these negative effects of corruption in the development of Nigerian economy, there are still series and measures of way out to capture these corruption practices. 1. Followers should stop asking for political patronage or gratification from top-serving office holders, such as my mother is sick, my husband is not feeling fine, I want to renovate my house. All these are flimsy excuses. Government should stop using taxpayers' money to send politicians to perform holy pilgrimage to Mecca, Medina, and even Jerusalem. Instead, government should use this money on infrastructure. There should be independent judiciary. This will aid them to dispense justice without fear and favor, because justice delayed is justice denied. Appointment into public offices should be made on merit and not on man-known man. That is, right peg should be put in round O and not square peg in round O. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Square pegs should be put in square holes, not round pegs in round holes. Isaac, Victoria.
Panel of judges, sir, accurate timekeeper, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I say good day. I am Isaac Victoria, an incorruptible ambassador of Surulere Senior Secondary School, and I am here to deliver a speech on the effects of corruption on national growth and development. First of all, when this topic was given, I thought and I remembered what happened June 3rd, 2012. If you should remember, an aircraft crashed in Lagos, Ghana Airline, and to this very moment that I'm speaking to you, the people, the families of those people lost are still in pain and are still suffering of the loss of their loved ones. What caused this? Definitely there is an engineer that is supposed to watch and make sure that aircraft before going on air is good enough, but corruption blinded the engineer's eyes. Let me not go further. What is corruption? Corruption is any act of indiscipline. Corruption is any act of bribery. Corruption is any act of illegal activities that can affect not only individuals but also the national growth and development. Then what are the effects of corruption? So many. One of the major effects of corruption is that it destabilizes the economy of a country. Corruption also eats up the moral standards of a country. Corruption also breaches the law of public opinion. Corruption also breaches the law of democracy. That is if you know what they are. Corruption also breaches the law of popular sovereignty. Corruption also prevents and hinders Corruption also hinders external investors from coming into the country to invest. Take for example, recently, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, was visiting several African countries, but he refused to visit Nigeria. Why? Because of corruption. What are the way out to this corruption? First, we must acknowledge that there is a problem. If you don't acknowledge that there is a problem, definitely there will be no solution. Secondly, the government should set up programs that will fight against this corruption. I suggest that the government should set up a program called WACP, which is War Against Corrupt Practices in the country. I thank God for this wonderful program that is enlightening us to know the effects of corruption, that is making us to fight against this corruption. Therefore, I say, let's fight against this corruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. I have written that war against corrupt practices. We used to have this during the days of Idia, but war against indiscipline. So this is war against corrupt practices. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Kalu Daniel. Please clap for him.
According to Dagreen, the late pop musician, I quote, corruption to hit nation, global and live in desperation, tolerable shipping medication, full protection against starvation, belly corruption, change generation, money corruption, through a strong constitution, everyone progress solution, body vibration. Stand before you today is Kalu Daniel, the noble ambassador of Birel Avenue Senior School. So I say, good day moderator, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my eminent listener and my fellow contestant. I am here to expatiate, inform and inspire you on the motion, effect of corruption on national development and we are. Corruption has now become the national anthem of most nations. No doubt, corruption is a bane in any nation. It is malady cut across every religious denomination and political system. It affects both young and old. It is a cancer that contaminates all strata of the social, political and economic structure of society. The President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, declares that the fight against corruption is the greatest total attack. The cause of corruption are immeasurable. It leads to injustice, misallocation of resources, and economic decay. However, different scholars from social science, political science, psychology, and religious studies have attempted a working definition for corruption from their various disciplines. According to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, I quote, the word corruption is derived from from Latin word corruptus, which means to abuse or destroy. In philosophical, theological, moral discussion, corruption is spiritual and moral impurity. According to the World Bank, corruption is defined as the abuse of public office for private group. Akide in 1995 defined corruption as a transaction or reciprocal behavior between two groups to induce in one another for a particular favor, illegal treatment, which is against the principle of a particular relation. On the other hand, definition of nationhood, according to our culture, history, and background, and we know that our family day, our nation, we know the state of factor. If we define ourselves according to our culture, history, and background, rather than our purpose and vision. Descriptively, the purpose of a nation is the realization of human aspiration. It's the pursuance of manhood for happiness, self-fulfillment, ecological development, and this certain anointing desire for self-discovery and maximization of his intellectual, physical, and spiritual ability. Cruz declared, I quote, corruption is worse than prostitution. The former might endanger the morale of an individual, what later endangers the morale of an entire nation. In 1996, observed that the menace of corruption has led to slow movement of files in the office, police extortion of toll gates, ghost worker syndrome, port congestion on highways, political approach, starting with politicians who, because of first of all, manipulated roads and rigged election. I believe the multi-party system of government should be abolished because of waste of national funds and this election crisis. And the two-party system should be used. Can you imagine the whole United States of America, a two-party system of government, spend only $6 billion in an election, and Nigeria, a multi-party system of government, spend $122.9 billion in an election. The idea and the belief that education is not important is it promoted the most nations in Africa, and Nigeria is one of them in their action. Why is the GDP so low? It is not because of what ran the nation, but because of their GMA, the gross mental attitude of the leader, the gross mental attitude. The British realized this as far back as 1947, that the key to stopping corruption is to build an educated city, the power to diffuse wealth in the nation. When this is done, corruption may not probably get to 0% Nigeria, but just
speaker is Ebendu Wisdom. Please clap for him.
Good day, everyone. My name is Wisdom Ikwendu, a great ambassador of Ijeshetere Senior Secondary School, and I'm here to expatiate more on the effect of corruption. Before I proceed, I would like to pay honor to whom honor is due by saying good things, Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, and my distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Now, you will agree with me that there's no way a country can develop without keeping away from odds. What are odds? Example of odds is corruption. Before I proceed, I would like to give you the meaning of corruption. Basically, corruption has been defined in different ways based on two things: the political nature of the country and also the civilization of the people. Now, what is corruption? Based on the effect of Nigeria, corruption can be defined as that evil, immoral act which people participate in. It can also be defined as the violation of rules and regulations. If they violate the rules and regulations, what are the effects? That is what we call effect of corruption. Now, you have effect of corruption to be, first, starting with when there's corruption, there's disunity in that country. You will agree with me that there is no country, I recap, no country that you have corruption and they will also continue to succeed. No at all. Let's take, for example, in Nigeria, when money is siphoned out of the country without the consultation of the citizens, and you expect the citizens to just keep quiet and look. Of course, that is what leads to rioting, protesting, etc. All these things are caused by corruption. What again do you have corruption? You also have people suffering economically and what? Socially. When you suffer economically, what does it mean? When goods are being deported from the factories, money are being put on top, more, not as they are supposed to. Now, when the distributor buys, he does not want to lose. Of course, he will put money on it, and if you don't have money, you can't afford it. With that way, you have suffered economically. What of socially? You can also suffer socially in the sense that you don't have the right to interact with others. For example, if you are rich and you are poor, there's what we call prejudice. They take people who are rich and leave you who are poor. All these things are effects. Having discussed all the effects, nihilistic effects, which has been brought by this democratic dispensation, what are the solutions? What are the way out? Of course, there are different ways out to corruption. First, government wants to put down agencies which will be in charge of this corruption, whereby anywhere at all they see corruption, they can be able to stop it. Also, come to the level of education in Nigeria. In Nigeria, you have people, although you are not educated, but you have the best results. Now, How will you feel in the future when you have people who have good results but they don't know how to defend it? You have a great lawyer who can speak plainly. All these things are caused by corruption. Since you don't have a result that you can't defend, then how can you cope? How can you survive? All these things are caused by corruption, and these are the solutions to it. I can tell you that if Nigeria should comply with all these things, they will also have a great success. Now, if corruption is not destructive, a great prominent man like Achabe will not say in the year 1983 that corruption is not only pervasive, but at the same time destructive. So that simply portrays the fact that Nigeria is in great corruption and needs to eradicate it. I can simply tell you that a safe nation is a great nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Ilo Chidinma, Eletu Odibo, Senior High School. Igbo Chika, Nwadi